they could actually hive off and create a separate bad bank. There are some issues around that in terms of how that would be treated under sort of the Maastricht calculation of national debt, I should say. They could also create an internal bad bank. They almost have that already. They call it the non-core unit. Or they could look at other ways of trying to get some of these bad assets out. But let me just make something clear. They have at the moment 45 trillion of what they call non-core assets, down from about 258 at the peak of the crisis. That's about 4% of the total assets of the Royal Bank of Scotland. So in a way, we're playing some games around these numbers, which are, I think, a bit more political than economic.
And what effect would it have on customers, for instance? Would they notice?
No, absolutely not. I mean, these are loans, big commercial real estate loans, this kind of thing that they've had on the books which have gone bad. They're nothing really to do with the man in the street, the small business. These are ring circle assets which have quite a long life to them.
Were you expecting this to happen?
Well, obviously we've had the paper being prepared by Rothschild, the investment bank, after the Banking Standards Committee asked for it. I'm still not convinced there'll be a breakup, as I just touched on earlier. We don't actually hold the stakes in Lloyds and Royal Bank of Scotland in our national debt, so our debt-to-GDP ratio, a very important measure, is understated on that basis. If they bring the bank onto the smaller bank onto the government's balance sheet, I think they may have to count that. So I think he'll want to avoid that and do some kind of internal transaction.
Is this some sort of new phase, do you think, of government privatisation?
I think we're at the stage now where we've seen with Lloyds, we've now sold down the first tranche. We'll see another tranche, as you touched on at the beginning, probably in the new year, involving retail investors as well. But I think what we have here is Royal Bank still has quite a bit to do, and I think the Chancellor is trying to accelerate some of these processes to clean it up and get it back to what it wants to be, I think, under its new chief executive, a very strong UK retail bank and business bank. And I think that's what he's trying to achieve and trying to help speed up.
OK, just briefly, how disruptive would the breakup of RBS be?
Well, it's really not helpful. I think Ross McEwen, the CEO, this morning has said, that it's been very disruptive. They also say to me, whenever we discuss this kind of thing, we've done so much since the crisis. Actually, we're used to disruption. We're used to getting transactions done. But, really, there has been, I'm afraid, a little bit too much political interference in this bank. I think, it would have been good to let it move forward and think about economics rather than politics.